name is Natalie, and I'm gonna talk about Chapter 4, Ecosystems and Communities.
So first, I want to start with weather and climate. So some people may confuse these two, but they're actually very different. Weather is the day-to-day conditions of Earth's atmosphere, and climate is the average conditions over long periods. So there are also microclimates, and microclimates are basically variations on climate over small distances, and these microclimates actually appear all around the globe. So the greenhouse effect is an effect that affects the weather and climate the in places. So this greenhouse effect talks about how gases function like glass in a greenhouse, allowing visible light to enter but trapping heat. So basically, the greenhouse effect traps the gases like carbon dioxide, water vapor inside the atmosphere, and this causes the heat to be trapped, and as well it causes the climate to be rising constantly. So also in nature, the the species have tolerance, which tolerance means the ability to survive a range of conditions under environmental circumstances. So depending on the species, it maybe has a different tolerance for heat or for humidity and stuff like that. So depending on the tolerance, this helps determine a species habitat, which is the general place where an organism lives. Organisms also have a niche, which this describes basically the role of the organism in the environment. It describes not only what an organism does, but also how it interacts with biotic and abiotic factors in the environment. And well, obviously, organisms need resources to survive, and resources refer to any accessible and necessity of life, such as water, nutrients, light, food, or space. So, in nature, there's also the competitive exclusion principle, and this principle states that no two species can occupy exactly the same niche at exactly the same time. There are also two main interactions between organisms. The first one is predation, which is an interaction which one animal captures and feeds on another animal, like a jaguar, a or a dog. The other one is herbivory. This is an interaction in which one animal feeds on producers. This one is like a deer that feeds on grass. There are also keystone species. Keystone species may not be big on numbers in a community, but if they disappear, they provoke a big change in the community. So they regulate the structure of a community. Symbiosis is any relationship in which two species live closely together, and there are three of them. The first one is mutualism, which is any kind of relationship between species in which both benefit. There's parasitism, which is a relationship in which one organism lives inside or another organisms and harms it. And there's also commensalism, which is any relationship in which one organism benefits and the other one is neither helped nor harmed. So we can find different biomes in the biosphere. For example, we can find the desert, the tundra, the temperate grassland, the coniferous forest, and those are just some examples. So basically, these biomes differentiate on the climate, on the type of organisms they have, the type of plants, and the overall environment. So, for example, in some of them, we may find a canopy, which is a dense leafy covering formed on tall trees, and maybe we don't find them in other biomes because the climate doesn't allow them. Or in other biomes, we can find deciduous, which is a plant that sheds its leaves during a particular season. Or we can also find coniferous, which they are plants that produce seed-bearing cones and have like shape like needles. So we can find these plants depending on the biome we are. So in some of the coldest biomes, we also may find permafrost, which is a layer of permanently frozen subsoil. So the last thing I want to talk about is a wetland, which is an ecosystem in which water either covers the soil or is present are near the surface for at least part of the year. And one of the things that affects this kind of ecosystem that are kind of watery, is the light that it receives. So, for example, we have the photic zone, which is the sunlit region near the surface in which photosynthesis can occur, and we also have the aphotic zone, which is down below the photic zone. And this zone basically doesn't have a lot of light, and photosynthesis cannot occur. So those were all the topics that were in chapter 4, ecosystem and communities. Thank you.